I'm ready to go.
I'm leaving it up to you to make sure we touch upon the points in whatever order it goes in.
Okay. I'll try not to be too all over the place. Welcome to Crosstown Cardboard, episode 93. The title of this episode, We're All Over the Place. And that's literal and metaphorical because Craig has done a lot of traveling to different card shops recently, along with one he's going to discuss in this very episode. I'm traveling home from work. I'm going back to work. That's why I'm dressed up. And my thread count is very high right now. But it's always casual here. It's never formal. I'm Carmine at Carmine's Cards, the sports storyteller down here in Greenville, South Carolina, originally from Ossining, New York. And Craig is the math teacher and the soccer coach in New York City. He's at New York City Sports Cards. But for this one, it's about New Jersey. We have a little interstate rivalry there. But Craig, let's start off because we're all over the place. We're going to jump around. I had a successful Facebook sale, which we'll get to. An interesting Facebook discussion. I'm very interested to get your take on it because it was kind of, when you're negotiating with somebody and they're like trying to make you do something and then you're like, well, I got to make some money too. So that was interesting. You got a PC card from a different country. We have a bunch of things to talk about. But why don't we start off with a very successful sale that you had, Craig, based on a card that you mentioned in the previous episode?
I appreciate you taking the time in between work to come here. You went from work to here. You're going to go back to work.
Mm-hmm. I
was just in Denver. Today I went to Jersey. We have this card that came in from Spain. We are all over the place.
Yep.
As you said. I bought the Dirk 1/1 a couple weeks ago. It was first year optic. My instinct brought me back to 2017 San Diego. When I was there on vacation, I was ripping blasters of optic basketball. I knew the first year optic with the black 101, something special about that. So when a Dirk Super Collector posted that on Instagram for sale at a price that I thought was pretty appropriately priced.
Mm-hmm.
At 300, you guessed 140, way off.
That's not my game, obviously. I was way off. That's your game. That's your game.
We are in part of what we do flippers as well, right? Let's call it what it is. You got to fund this hobby somehow. So I'm like, that 300 seems good. At the very least, I'll be able to trade that at some point. Maybe at National for a Knicks card that I really like. Listed it on eBay for an absurd amount of $2,000 or best offer, which maybe not that crazy. Offer came in at 700 on eBay. Recognized that it was an Instagram logo. Found him on Instagram. We made the deal off eBay. 700 PayPal, friends and family, and net like 675 in a week. So we like to celebrate those wins.
Good for you. Saved on some eBay fees there. That was smart.
Yes, and we actually had a back and forth about that as far as the math behind what it would save both of us. So that was a good deal. And yeah, the person's from Texas. I think the Dallas area. So good for him to have a card now, like a Dirk. First year optic black 101 and a PSA 9 for his area. And I made a nice little something on it that I could turn into more fun stuff.
A nice little something. You doubled your money.
More.
Wow.
That took my my yearly gains. I keep track in a spreadsheet as far as everything I've sold, what percent of it is profit. You hope it's going to be a positive number. That sale brought me from like 10.5% to 13% on the year. Wow. Okay. That's good. Well, for all you math, people out there, in case you were wondering.
Good for you. Because that's what percentage profit was that for you?
Ooh, I didn't do that, but over 100%.
Yeah. Whew. Nice sale, bro. Good for you.
Feels good, right? Feels good to catch a W. That's it. Simple as that.
Yeah. And that's interesting. So why did you choose to list it for 2,000?
I saw other Dirk 101 Prism prices, especially the black. There was a 2023 Prism insert. The optic was an insert as well, but this was a 2023 Prism insert black 101 that did 500 on bids. I'm like, this is not a very aesthetically pleasing card. It's modern. It's some meaningless insert. This does 500. I feel like this optic is at least double. I mean, obviously I took what I took for it, but yeah, that was my rationale and paid off for me. So there we go.
That's also interesting from a seller's perspective to hear that, because you might see a card on eBay, you might really like it, and then say, well, they're asking 200 or 2,000. There's no way they're going to accept less than half that. But clearly that's not the case. So one of my lessons, along with your smart one-of-one flip, is also, if I'm looking to buy something on eBay, to not be afraid to make an offer that might seem like a low ball based on the listing price, but a seller might take it. You have no idea what they're into the card for.
And if you're a seller, I can't possibly think of a reason why you would turn on minimum bids. You know, certain cards that do like auto decline if you don't hit a certain number. I can't imagine why you would keep that setting on.
Well, what if you don't want to be bothered to respond to something that you think is too much of a low ball?
Yeah, takes a second.
Well, you could always counter offer too. You could always say, well, that might be their first offer, but what if I counter back? Yeah. And I found that pretty frequent. I don't like do a lot of deals on eBay, but I found that pretty frequent, that the bid or the best offer is declined. Maybe I'm just lowballing. Maybe that's the problem too. But
I'm always pro turn that off. Let the bids come in out, no matter how big or small they are.
Because then you can learn too.
What's that?
You could also learn from that if you're the seller and say, well, you know, I thought this was worth whatever, $1,000, but most of the offers I've been getting are 600. Maybe I can eventually accept one or lower my expectation of what this is going to sell for.
Yeah, look, I sold it for 65% less than the asking price.
Yeah.
You know, who would have thought, but worked out for both of us. So there we go.
Yeah. Well, speaking of percentages, Craig, I had a pretty successful profit percentage, not as good as yours, on my recent Facebook sale, though. I sold about 10 cards and I brought in $2,600 total, which is one of my biggest Facebook sales ever. I was like, wow, I didn't expect, you know, most of these sales that I've been doing recently on Facebook or Instagram have been, you know, less than $1,000 almost every single time. So to sell $2,600 worth of cards and free up that money, especially right before the National, I was like, oh, this is great. I was really happy about it. Plus, I mentioned the percentages. So I sold $2,600 total in cards, and my profit was about $700. So that was right around a 27% profit. But on that big of a sale, you know, it's $700. You know, I'm less worried about the percent, more worried about how much money I'm freeing up and the profit number itself. So I was pretty excited about that. I didn't expect it to be so successful.
Nice. Great.
Yeah.
What works so well for you? Like, remember we talked about last time, I'll have some Facebook posts that get 0 likes and others that have over 100 comments. What went well for you this time around? I
think I just tried the same thing that I've been doing, but I listed it in 3 different Facebook groups. Two of them were like all cards, all sports. One of them was NBA Hotspot Worldwide, which I believe we're both members of, just NBA cards, of course. So I did 3 different groups, but I usually do that. And then I post it and I let it marinate for a little while, get those W's rolling in. You know, people are watching the Facebook post. That, I think, allows it to hit the algorithm a little bit more, show up on more people's page who are members of that group, and get more W's or more eyeball emojis, people watching it. And then also I post each individual card as a comment, and that gets the comment numbers up, hopefully hits more people's algorithm on their Facebook feed, and more traction and more traction. But I always do that because I think that's just the way to do it and get more people interested in it, rather than making a Facebook post and posting all the cards as photos in the post and not getting as much traction in the comments as far as number of comments, you know, bringing it to more people's attention. So that's just the way I try to do it. I'm sure other people are successful other ways. And like I said, usually I'm not as successful as this, but I think another thing too, I had more liquid cards in some aspects. Like, for example, I sold the Luka Doncic Prism Silver rookie in a PSA 8, listed it at $360, and I sold it for $325.
Nice.
So I had a better mixture of those kind of cards mixed with The cards that we like, the game used jerseys, the on card autos of older guys. Like I also saw this Dr. J 1/1 Leaf auto in the mix. I sold what else did I sell here? Oh, this is interesting. You're probably like this. So I sold 2 cards that were much more of our taste. The Larry Bird 03 SP Authentic Auto that I recently talked about that came back a PSA 10 in the submission I had. So I sold that for $440, and that was a nice after the grading fee, and I was into it for a lot more than what like a raw card would go for in that card. But I made about 125 on this one, so that was nice. Yeah. And this one, I don't know if you know that I sold this, but a few months ago, I talked about sending out the Patrick Ewing Flawless Game Used 3-color patch, and I got it autographed. I sent it out for the in-person auto, which was like $325 through Power Sports Memorabilia. So I ended up selling this, actually. Surprisingly, I've had it for a while. I was like wondering this whole time, did I make a bad move? I was like $300 for an in-person auto. Is anybody going to even like this? Was it just my own, intuition that I thought this would be cool to get Ewing to sign this flawless 3-color game used patch and have a unique 1/1-ish card, because there's nothing else like this out there with the autograph on the fabric. I'm holding it up on the YouTube. So I was into it after the card and the autograph fee for the in-person auto from Ewing. I was into it for about $550, and I end up selling it for $720. So I made $170 on it, but it took a while. It took the right person. It was actually a Patrick Ewing collector who ended up getting it. And I think it was a foreign collector because they had a Ship My Cards account. That's where I sent it to. So you have to figure that they hold their cards there, ship it either overseas or to a different country. And but it turned out great in the end. But it had a lot of doubt throughout the process of whether or not it was going to be a profit or if I was going to have to, eat it.
Hobby gods are speaking to us, because I get maybe one shipment from Ship My Cards every year or two. Maybe just like by chance. I happened to get a mail day today from Ship My Cards.
Oh, okay. What a coincidence.
As you bring it up. How about that?
Oh, crosstown cardboard coincidence. You got to love that. So it was cool because I was hitting on those cards that we personally like the Patrick Ewing Game Used Flawless Patch, the Larry Bird 03 SP Authentic on-card auto, but also, as I mentioned, with the Luka Doncic Prism Rookie PSA 8 Silver, the modern stuff. It was a good combination of having both of these lanes, the modern and the classic, cards that we enjoy. I also sold the Trevor Lawrence Obsidian RPA.
Easy. Yeah, that's the liquid stuff that you're talking about.
Yeah, numbered out of 50. So that's a liquid card. So I think what helped with this was, just to go back to that, I had a mixture of modern and classic, more collector cards like the Bird and the Ewing. I also sold the one that you had a little bit of interest in, the Ripken Griffey Jr. Jeter triple jersey game used card. So that was cool. So I think that's what it was, if I had to chalk it up to anything. But, again, just
move.
Trying to stick with it. But the variety, I think, is really what helped this sale out.
Yeah, so I think we learned posting pictures in the comments leads to good results. Nice work.
That's what I'm going with. And people also liked buying a couple cards at once, which was cool. And sometimes it was a modern card and older school card. Like I sold this Kevin Garnett Topps Finest Rookie in a PSA 9, about a $75, $60 card. I sold this from 1995 Topps Finest along with the Trevor Lawrence RPA. So I was like,
what a combination. Who could have do that?
So, exactly. And that kind of speaks to I'm just kind of making this connection now, but that speaks to the variety playing a positive factor in the sale. And other people have varied styles too. They might like the modern along with the 90s rookie. They might like a modern along with the early 2000s card, or a sticker auto with a game used patch, combined.
Yeah, I mean, those cards are over 25 years apart. Those cards were produced.
Right. So it's crazy to think about, but I think that, that kind of helped me like getting more into the liquid card range, and not shying away from it because it's not what I particularly personally collect and like, but just knowing that that's my flipping side. And then I have my collecting side of I'll hold on to these cards unless I get enough money to pry it away from me, which was like the Ewing and the Bird. So it was good variety. And now I got more money freed up for the National with a 27% profit margin. And I made sure to come to you with those numbers because I know you're a math guy.
I really do appreciate you crunching the numbers there. It's good. It's good fun too, right? I was thinking about this today, that this is a hobby because it's fun. And as long as it's still fun for me, which it is, it's still a hobby. And don't you agree that just the interacting, the making of the deals is fun?
It is fun. And it's also sometimes you have to have some humility with it too. Like, I was trying to sell that Bird SP Authentic Auto 2003 PSA 10. I got a 440 offer and I was asking 500 for it. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll meet you in the middle at 470. And the guy's like, no, the best I can do is 440. I said, okay. I said, make it an even 450 and we have a deal. I thought that was going to work. He's like, no. He's like, I can't, 440. So I said, you know what? Yeah, I'm making 125 on it, even though I love Larry Bird and it's a cool card. I'm like, I'm still making enough money. That's your offer, even though you won't budge $10 more to come up. I'm like, you know what? Let me take the humble pie and I'll just accept your offer. So
great lesson.
I've been doing more of that recently. And also last week, I didn't even tell you about this, but this was a profit margin similar to your Dirks. I sold 4 of my PSA 10s that I got back in the recent submission, and I sold them for about $750, and I was only into them for like $350 because of the PSA 10. It was 4 different PSA 10s. It was a Bryce Young Prism I think it was 2 Bryce. Yeah, it was 2 Bryce Young Prism Silver rookies in a PSA 10. An Alperin Şengün, I think it was a Prism Silver in a PSA 10, and a Chet Holmgren Prism Silver rookie in a PSA 10. So, 2 of the Bryce Youngs, Şengün, Holmgren, all Prism Silver rookies, all PSA 10s. And I sold them at about 85% of comps. But I'm like, if I can move all 4 of these at once, make more than double my money, which was like $400. I was into them for like $350. Let me just get them out the door. It was to a hobby friend, and both people are happy. And I moved that much inventory quick, money, and another plus of the relationship. Like you said, the negotiation was kind of fun, and not being afraid to take a profit, even though it's not maybe the most money I could get from it, but it was still a good deal for both.
It's great. It's really good stuff. Happy
Thanks,
for
bro.
you.
Thanks, bro. Try to drop, some points that hopefully our faithful viewers and listeners can get out of these deals too, because it's stuff that we're constantly working through every deal. You take like you, 25 years almost in the hobby, you take what you've learned, but you have to adapt it into every deal. And a lot of times the humility to take a profit and not push for the absolute most you could possibly get is something that I'm fighting to, learning throughout.
Well, it's very noble of you to recognize that now. I got 2 PC cards, right?
Yeah,
one of them
One
of them came via Spain. That's a short story. And then one of them came via the New Jersey trip, which is a longer story. But that was what today was all about for me.
Okay, longer story for a shorter trip, shorter story for a longer trip.
That's crazy.
I'm just saying we're all over the place.
We are. Can't forget about the theme. We are all over the place. All right, New Jersey, right? I'm off from work today. All right, an observance for Eid.
Okay.
Right? Which is a holiday that DOE we have off now and then the end of Eid. the end of Ramadan, which was a couple months ago.
Okay, nice.
Today, being my off day, my wife is studying for her exam. I had the whole day. I'm like, I want to go see some card shops. You know,
Okay.
I don't have any coaching, no nothing today. That's how I want to spend my free day.
Yeah.
I want to go out and hobby hustle. That's what I want to do. So I'm sure you've done a deal with Cards by Joe.
Yes, that's one of our good buddies. Well, more your buddy than mine, but yeah, we've probably done at least 5 deals, and we talk all the time.
Good buddy, just good, solid person. Good for the hobby.
Yep.
I took a train from Penn to Hamilton, which was about an hour, probably like door to door, almost 2 hours, hour and a half, hour 45.
Okay.
Picked me up. We went to 2 shops, Sports Nut, and then we drove to Santiago's Sports.
Okay.
So 2 shops. Well, I probably left this morning at 8:30, and because of a train delay, I ended up getting back at 7. That's a full day work.
You put in hobby overtime.
That is a full day work right there. But as we alluded to earlier, it is fun. It's a fun way to spend a day with a good friend, good conversation, go to hobby shop, dig through value boxes, make deals, all that.
Okay. What happened there?
Successful day. First day, Sports Nut. Great shop. I don't know the town exactly it's located in, but you can look up Sports Nut. And first thing you walk in, you see tons of value boxes.
Okay.
And then to the right, a lot of wax, showcases in the middle. And it made me realize part of what makes a good shop is the ability to just sit down and comfortably sit through value boxes, and for the value boxes to have good variety and to be organized by sport. There's so much cool stuff there.
Yeah, good point.
Organized by sport, there's autographs and patches, there's rookies, veterans, vintage, with seats. You could sit down and just enjoy yourself comfortably.
Yeah.
So that's what we did. But I was also looking at the showcases. So much nice stuff. I really didn't come to this place planning to trade, but you see stuff, you bring stuff. You don't know what you might end up with. So as I'm searching through the showcases, there are a lot of cards that I like.
Yeah.
I saw this Francisco Lindor on the Mets from Topps Dynasty, a game-worn patch. The entire number 41 for like Tom Seaver, because when Tom Seaver passed, they wore like his commemorative patch. And game-worn. Imagine that whole thing on a card of 101. That's one that stuck with me that I remember. But as I'm looking around, I realized naturally I'm gravitated towards the best cool to cost ratio type card. I didn't think about that in the moment, but as I reflect on it now, naturally it just kind of happens.
You're speaking my language.
So this is one that caught my eye that I ended up making a deal for. 2005 Absolute Baseball. I remember vividly. I think the packs came in these like not quite cylindrical tubes with like a pack in the middle, and Tools of the Trade. You're familiar with that set?
Yep.
So 05 Absolute. The cool ones were the Babe Ruth jumbo jerseys, but I had to settle on a Jim Thorpe Tools of the Trade game worn jersey. Look at that.
Wow, that is an icon, a cultural icon.
That's what I'm saying. Game worn, numbered out of 250, 2005 Absolute.
Wow.
Game worn, numbered out of 250.
That is an old jersey.
How cool is that? Jim Thorpe, game worn.
Wow.
Tools of the Trade, you can see that jersey and everything. So, a card that I really like, something that I've always seen before. My type of card for sure. And he had a price at $175, which seemed very fair based on what I've seen.
Okay.
Almost a price I would have been comfortable paying. But I had some cards with me. So older guy, maybe 50 plus, but like very friendly, obviously very knowledgeable, tons of inventory around the store. And I'm like, all right, here's a couple of things that I have that I think you might like based on what you have, out on display. One of them was from the most recent trip to my childhood LCS with my dad. Two cards I picked up. An A-Rod, Pujols, Manny Ramirez, triple threads, triple jersey, numbered out of 18. And that Ernie Banks triple jersey jacket, I think, pants relic out of triple threads as well.
Yeah, I remember that one.
So I was into those 2 cards total for 40.
Okay.
And I ended up getting 135 trade value out of them.
Wow.
And I added $40 cash on top.
Uh-oh. Sounds like you got a nice card.
So ultimately I'm into this for 80 if you do the math, because of some nice finds at my local childhood LCS that I picked up, and I was able to trade those into something that I really do like and will keep.
Oh, you're gonna keep that? Okay.
Yeah, I am. Look at that.
Oh, that's a PC card now, huh?
It is. This was
Bro,
one of the coolest things to watch get opened growing up, like on YouTube. Fun product.
That is incredible. I'm just looking up some Jim Thorpe stats
Jerseys,
here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And not even his cards, just like his last MLB appearance, according to Wikipedia, 1919 for the Boston Braves. And I'm seeing that same year from Baseball Reference. So that jersey is from the 19 teens.
Pretty cool. Numbered out of 250.
That's incredible. That might be the oldest game used jersey card I've ever seen.
Cultural, sports icon, and a set that definitely brings me back to early days of like watching YouTube breaks and loving watching this stuff get open. Wow. So yeah, really happy to have that one, and the hustle to get into it at such a good value.
Yeah, that's very cool. That's like gives me a feeling of your Pele and Muhammad Ali rookie cards as far as the significance of the athlete and like having a piece of the game used jersey. I mean, first Native American to win a gold medal for the U.S. in the Olympics, one of the most versatile athletes of all time, two gold medals in 1912, American football, baseball, even an executive general manager of a baseball team. Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I don't blame you for wanting to PC that.
And whenever you got time, do a deep dive into like 2005 absolute tools of the trade and just the variety of different game-worn pieces and stuff they had.
Okay.
And then we did. I spent probably an hour there value boxing, just digging. Right. So I ended up with 9 cards for $45.
Wow.
Just good fun. What's one that stands out here that you might like? Jamal McGlure. Look at that.
That's cool. Oh, and an auto. Yeah.
What else? We got all right. This is one. So, 2003-04 LeBron rookie year?
Yeah.
This is from UD Glass, and this is a Stephon Marbury, but it's like the acetate card from UD Glass. Good stuff. Cool. And this is also an Allen Houston from that same set, but the covering is still on it.
Huh.
Yeah. Just random stuff.
That is random.
All right. Then we head on over 30-minute drive to Santiago Sports.
So you were done there. You got 10 cards total?
That's it. Traded for the one. Traded for the Gene 4. Picked up 9 value box cards. Just cool stuff.
Any other cool stuff in the 9 value box? Never know what you're going to get in those value boxes, huh? It could be anything. You could stumble across anything.
I mean, I just got this because it was a Essential Credentials Now, which is a popular insert set from like early year Fleer EX. But this is from 04-05. NBA Skybox. I don't even know who this is. I just got it because it was a Essential Credentials Now.
What's his name?
Set? I can't pronounce it. Matt Frazier from the Heat.
Okay. Nice. So you're going to try to sell those, or what's the move with those?
How about this? A Josh Dobbs Prism PSA 10, just because I don't know if he's still in the league. Something might happen.
And it's a silver. That's nice. Remember he had a great story last year with the Vikings going over there, and he didn't even know the playbook and helped them to a win.
If I'm not mistaken, this is a silver because in 2017 Prism for rookies, it was only silvers.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
They did not have base cards.
Wow. Knowledge.
Card brain. All right.
Card brain.
We drove on over 30 minutes to Santiago's. Are you familiar with him? Like social media presence?
I've seen a lot of social media presence. Yeah.
He's also the one who I brought the vintage T-shirts and the crew neck sweatshirts to at Culture Collision. Remember I said, do you know what I'm talking about?
You brought them to him?
Do you remember I brought all those vintage T-shirts with me to Culture Collision to try to sell them to
Yes, I actually wore the one I got from you today to the gym, the Bills
the Buffalo
school.
Bills.
Yeah.
Yeah. So while I was in Culture Collision, I went to Santiago because he has like he has a sports card store. That's where we went today. And they have vintage T-shirts, jackets, stuff like that. So I tried to trade it to him at Culture Collision. He's like, you know what? I really would, but I don't want to lug that home, which like I couldn't really blame him. So he's like, come by the shop and like we'll make it happen. So here I was today in the shop.
So you brought all these shirts in like what, a duffel bag?
Yeah, pretty much.
Nice.
It was like 12 different culture and sports like T-shirts plus sweatshirts. So I sat him down on the table. I'm like, look, I got 12 sweatshirts here, X amount of value. And then I went through a bunch of piles of cards from the collection that I bought out into like different types of piles. And I really wanted to consolidate it all.
Okay.
You know, because it's $5 to $10 game worn jersey type stuff. And then there was another pile with a couple cool New York pieces like the Don Mattingly autograph that I got from Denver, like the Ronnie Lott Jets patch that I had. So I tried to incorporate New York stuff as well. And then the vintage stuff, the clothing. So clothing, cards, and I knew my plan all along was like, I got to clear space. I have a dozen vintage T-shirts that I have no use for here. They're just sitting in the top of the closet. I got a bunch of cards from my collection that I need to just consolidate and get rid of. I'm not setting up anytime soon. Plan going in, just like Denver, already crunched the numbers in my head and everything.
Yep.
I laid it out all on the table, pile by pile, priced out. I'm like, look, I went through the price of everything. He's like, cool, fair. I showed him this pile, like, boom, boom, boom. All right, seems fair, reasonable. I'm like, look, you count everything up here. You got $575 worth of what I say is value. I found some cards here that you priced up to at $420. Let's just trade straight up. And we got the deal.
You did the nice guy trade value just like you did in Denver.
Yeah. I'm like, exactly. And I buttered them up too, because if you know, like Tyler's a big Detroit fan, and I had a little separate stack of like Detroit game worn like patches and like a couple nice jersey cards. And I'm like, if you can honor that value and straight up trade, like this is a gift for you personally. You know, the Pistons cards. And then like, how could you say no at that point? The numbers make sense, the gift. And I got to get rid of a lot of stuff that was taking up space that I didn't need, and ended up with this stack.
Okay.
It's probably
did it still work out for you with, you were saying 570 value, but 420 value that you got from him? I'm sure you're not into that for 420.
Less.
Right.
Less than 420.
What are you into it for?
I didn't crunch the numbers before we were recording, and I would have, but you're on a time crunch.
I bet you it's less than 300.
It's not, but it's less. It's just because it's a lot of the low end stuff from the buyout collection that, as I'm crunching the numbers, I'm basically into for zero. So I'm able to like factor a lot of that in.
Nice. Okay. Wow. This collection's still rolling over, huh?
That's unbelievable. It's the gift. It's literally the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you haven't listened to that episode, if you haven't listened to that episode about Craig buying out the collection a couple of episodes ago, that's one of our best yet. That was a cool find. I'm glad it was so fun.
4 cards from that collection, not in my top 4, but like the next tier below. They're out for grading right now. So that could add a little more excitement.
Really? You know? Okay. You sent out 4 from the collection for grading.
I splurged and I went with Value Plus at $40 a card because I wanted them back.
By National.
Yes. And also cards that I'm into for so low that it's almost like I'm only into for the grading fee. So I'll pay the extra $40 to get them back, hopefully a little sooner.
Oh, wow. I can't wait to see what that reveals like. I sent out several more cards for grading also. So we got more episode content down the pipeline. Yeah, more action.
So I ended up with, it was great. I really truly consolidated. 75 plus cards, stacked, stuff I don't need. Whole bunch of vintage T-shirts, and I ended up with just the
75 cards. Wow.
A lot of stuff.
And so wait, before you reveal those cards, Craig, I'm interested because you thought that buying the vintage T-shirts from, what was it, the market? One of the New York City markets?
The plan was I was going to try to set up at a New York City street fair and do cards and vintage T-shirts. I just had this idea in my mind, and then like as soon as I had the idea, I started going to I was already in the East Village. So I was going around to like shops around there and finding what I thought were like cool sports and cultural T-shirts, and that's what I would want my setup to look like. And then I just didn't follow through at all. So
you just ended up not setting up.
Yeah, I didn't need to do that.
Okay. So you got rid of the t-shirts though, because you didn't want to do that anymore. So this helped you get rid of that stuff too.
That stuff, I consolidated cards. I ended up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You want to see?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll go through the value box stuff first. Look at Derrick Rose, Bulls, game used jersey.
That's a big jersey.
Willis Reed Black Refractor out of 99.
That's cool. Okay.
From 06, 07 Topps Finals.
Yeah, that's Durant's year.
Then it's 07, 08. Damn, I can't. One of those
looks
two.
like Durant's year. Card design.
Melvin Gordon, flawless RPA out of 15. Unfortunately, player worn, but still looks nice.
Yeah, that's cool.
Miles McBride, Contenders autograph. One time for the Knicks fans.
Cool.
Nice chunky Eric Gordon Game Gear National Treasures patch.
That's a big letter.
RIP. He did have 2 Bill Walton autographs.
Oh, nice.
And sneaky one of the bunch. Sneaky. 2017-18. Mini Dominion. This is like a metal card. It almost feels like a printing plate. OG Anunoby. And it's the gold. Hard to see in the light, but it's the gold numbered 1 out of 10.
Nice. A rookie numbered out of 10 of OG.
Interesting one. And this was the big card. So random, so obscure. 1985 Star. Gatorade Slam Dunk. Number 5, Julius Erving in a BGS 4 with a 9 autograph.
Okay. What made you want to get that?
Cool to cost ratio.
What was the cost?
200. They had it priced at.
Okay. Interesting. BGS 4 with a 9 auto. Is the condition that bad?
No, because they have the grades on the back, and you can see it's just surface.
Oh, wow. 8, 8, 9, and a 3 on the surface.
There you go. So,
interesting. That's actually a really cool card. A cool auto.
Yeah.
Cool and the slant, the reverse dunk.
Autographed on card. You know what? Again, it's one of those like it's a situational thing, right? Where I know I'm leaving here I can't come back home with these vintage t-shirts. So I know I'm leaving here making a deal somehow. So what just like relative to what I can get, what's around here, what's different, what's interesting, what's unique, what's something that will catch my eye and therefore someone else's eye at some point. And an 85 Star, Julius Erving, authenticated autograph, whatever way you slice it, is pretty cool.
That is cool. That is cool.
So there we go.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, you think about it's a 40-year-old card. Cool photo. Dunking, which everybody knows the doctor used to operate on his opponents, including the rim. So I like it. Smart consolidation. And you got great practice from your Denver trip. You were brushed up on your skills doing that already.
It's a good point, right? Just come in. It's like anything, as we said, come in prepared and deals go pretty easy.
Yeah. So good for you, bro. Smart, savvy. You even took notes from the Culture Collision opportunity that didn't work out and then followed up on, unlike you're following up by setting up at the street fair, you followed up on this, on this deal and made it work. Yeah. You studied up. Oh, good for you.
Touche.
I'm happy that worked out.
You got to run or you got something?
No, I can talk about this. So I just wanted to talk about, we mentioned my Facebook sale, and this was an interesting one. I'm not going to reveal the guy's name, but he works at a sports card store in Wisconsin. So I'm guessing he's a cheesehead. And so he was trying to get the Trevor Lawrence Obsidian RPA off me. Nice card, liquid, numbered out of 50. And ended up getting that one and the Dr. J 1 of 1 Leaf auto off me for $390 total. Okay. He was trying to get 6 total cards off of me, including the Roger Clemens, Randy Johnson dual autograph, the Joe Montana flawless autograph, Larry Bird's select auto, neon green, numbered out of 35. Also Lawrence Taylor rookie auto. So he's trying to get 6 cards. but he was trying to pay, 80% basically on a lot of this stuff. And I said, I can't, it doesn't make any sense for me to sell these at a discount when I'm going to be taking a loss on several of them. I said, the Trevor Lawrence, he was trying to make a bigger deal coming off the Trevor Lawrence. I said, well, the Trevor Lawrence is going to work. I'm good with that. But, other than that, I don't think we're going to get to an agreement here. So he kept trying. And then he's saying, you're killing me. I'm like, bro, I'm not, I'm like, if anything, you're killing me continuing to, give me these low offers. I just told you, I don't think it's going to work. So he's still really trying to make this work. He goes, if I ask you a question, will you give me an honest answer? This is the interesting part I wanted your take on. He said, why are you not willing to budge at all on any of these other cards, yet you took such a lower price than your asking price on the Lawrence? I was asking $425 on the RPA, and I took his $300 offer. I said, because I'm into the Lawrence at a better price than the others, and it doesn't have as many direct recent comps as the others. So then he writes, just so you have the facts and see where I'm coming from. He said he works for a sports card store in Wisconsin. He said, I was just a little, so I know he needs to buy, cheaper, but I'm like, we both need to make our money, is what I told him. He said, I was just a little surprised because you keep saying you don't want to take 80 to 85%, but you went down to 65% on the Lawrence. But really, the last direct sale on the Lawrence, Obsidian RPA, numbered out of 50, the last direct sale was like $450. But there have been many more recent sales of the out of 99, even 2 color patches on the out of 99 in a PSA 9 for like $350, $340, So I'm like, well, if you want to say that I'm accepting 65% on the Trevor Lawrence for the last direct sale, which was months ago, I'm looking at the new value of this card if it were to sell today based on the out of 99 sales for like a 2 color patch PSA 9 with a 10 auto. I'm saying if that card's selling for $340, then how much is mine really worth? Maybe it's like $375. I don't know. So if but I don't really need to know because I'm into that Trevor Lawrence for $200. So if I accept a $300 offer right now, I'm still making a 50% profit. So that's why I'm telling him, he's looking at it. The exact sale is 65%. And maybe that'll work if you try to sell it to somebody, and say the exact last sale was this. But if they look up more recent sales out of 99, they're going to see, well, is it really worth that much today? So it was just an interesting discussion where, he kept thinking that I'm going to sell all of my cards on the cheap, 80%, 85%, which sometimes I will. Like in the situation of all the PSA 10s that I sold, 4 PSA 10s, I'll take 85% because I'm into those for way less. And you're talking about a bulk deal here. But in this situation, it was just funny because he's surprised that I won't take 80 to 85% on all my cards. It was interesting. I don't know. What do you think about that situation?
In that situation, I am factoring in whether you're into card for a little and the other card you're into for too much. If you're looking to sell a lot, personally, I just combine what I'm into them for together as one whole, and I consider his offer as one number, and then just compare the two, and I work up that percentage.
So I was looking at that, and if I had accepted his offer with the Trevor Lawrence, even with that $100 profit I was making on the Trevor Lawrence, I would have been basically breaking even total. So I'm like, rather than sell those 4, let me just sell the one that I have a big profit in and combine it with the Dr. J, which I've had since Culture Collision actually is where I got it. So I'm like, let me break even on the Dr. J. Actually, I made $15. I was into it for $75. Sold the Dr. J for $90.
Which one was that?
What's that?
Which one was that?
It was a Dr. J Leaf Auto 1 of 1. Yeah, so I got that at a Culture Collision trade night.
Patch?
No, just an auto, sticker auto.
Gotcha.
So I'm like, let me, sell the 2 that I can sell for a profit, and then just keep the others and wait until I either get a stronger offer or have a trade opportunity. Because, and plus one of them was a Larry Bird, so I'm like, I don't need to sell that for a loss or a break even. So I just felt like it was a little bit strategic, not getting pressured into. And if it was like 20 cards, now we're talking something different. But, you know, it was like a 6-card deal. And so I've done that before where I've sold 20 cards at one time, like at Burbank, one of our vlogs. If you go back on the Crosstown Cardboard YouTube, you'll see it. And I made a huge deal at like 75 to 80%. And some of the cards in there, I regretted selling that cheap because I'm like, these are liquid, nice cards that I'm not making a profit on, that I bought for 85% or traded into for 80, 85%, 90% sometimes. Why am I taking a loss on these cards is what I was thinking, you know, back then. And it was just because the dollar signs got in my head, like, oh, we're just racking up more money, more money. Wow, I'm getting liquid, which sometimes is good if you need to free up cash. But in a situation like this, I remembered what I did at Burbank, and I said to myself, I'm only going to sell the cards that it makes sense for me to sell, that I'm getting a profit out of. And the others, I'll just hold on to. I like them. I'm not in a rush to sell them. And I'll wait for a better opportunity to sell or trade those particular cards. So I think I learned from that last situation and not get blinded by a bigger money offer, and know that I put in the work to either trade into or get good deals on these cards. And like Big Ken, Sports Card Lessons, says, why am I just passing on my profit to somebody else when I was the one who originally did the work to get these cards at 80 to 90%? So that was my thought, just trying to put that into action and learn from the past on that one.
Yeah, sometimes you have the chance to leave a little more meat on the bone for others than you do with other cards. Just how it goes, part of the game.
Right. It was just interesting that he asked that question, and he said, why are you willing to go so much lower? But really, he thought I was going a lot lower than what I thought, because I was going off the much more recent sales on higher numbered different cards, but the same, you know, set. And he's going off the last exact sale. So I don't know. Interesting, different perspectives there. But we end up making a deal, and it turned out good on those 2 cards.
So it all ends up well.
Yes, it all turned out well.
Okay. Last one, and then I know you got to get back to work.
Yep.
I picked up this great card, PC card for sure. 2022-23 Prism Basketball. Jalen Brunson, true gold die cut, numbered out of 10, making doing his face like that.
Nice. I didn't know you got that.
$100 flat.
That's cool. And he's doing the celebration, like you said.
Exactly. The true gold, the die cut, out of 10. And the story how I got it was from a friend of mine, Sergio. He lives in Madrid, Spain.
Okay.
Sir NBA Cards on Instagram. He had this for sale, and a couple times I had asked him about it. Never closed the deal. And then finally I'm like, I want that card. Let me get it. And I knew he was going to the United States. So got the card, ended up paying him, you know, cover the fees for the foreign transaction and everything. More or less $100 straight up. But it's tough to ship a card from Spain to the US for a $100 card, right? Because shipping can get pretty pricey, I assume. But he was going to be in the US. So we brought the card with him. We tried maybe to see if when he was at an event to give the card to someone else he was doing a deal with, and for that person to hold the card the next time I see him. Mm-hmm. But that didn't work out. So he didn't know how to ship, you know, out of a US postal center because he's from Spain. So I talked him through it. I showed him where to get, kind of helped him, where you can find bubble mailers, showed him where the local post office is. But I mean, he's a smart guy. Figured this out on his own. But I was talking through him, to him, throughout, to try to make it as easy as possible, because for a $100 card, you know, it ended up being a lot of work.
Yeah.
But we have a good story to tell. So Sergio got this card from me, from Spain to, I want to say, Boston to Dallas, where he ultimately shipped the card and got it to me.
Why do you have to do different steps in the US?
Because he didn't have time to ship it out of Boston. I think he went to the post office on a Sunday and it was closed, and he was flying to Dallas, something like that. Anyway,
Sergio's the one who's all over the place.
That's what I'm saying. So shout out to Sir NBA Card Sergio, a video creator from Madrid, Spain, card guy. Sold me this card. Went through leaps and bounds to get it to me, but ultimately got it to me. And it's happily going to belong on my PC.
Oh, nice. Well, that explains also not only you being a nice guy and helping Sergio through the process, but also the motivation to get a cool PC card, you know, in your collection. That's good for you. Great. Well, we were all over the place. We had some good stories though.
Yeah.
You were more all over the place in person, and I was more all over the place online.
But here we are in the same place talking sports cards.
Yes, I know. Great.
I have a Bleecker trade night on Thursday, so that's exciting.
Okay.
Get to hang out with friends and eat pizza. What more could you ask for?
That sounds perfect. I might be hitting a sports card show this weekend.
Oh, excited to hear about it.
Boiling Springs Sports Cards in Spartanburg, South Carolina.
Very nice.
Yeah, so we'll see. And teaser for the viewers and listeners to hopefully get them to subscribe if they haven't already.
5 away.
We're only 5 away from 400.
395.
Oh my gosh, we got 5 subscribers on the last one. Wow, give these viewers and listeners a goal, and look how they go to bat for you. Unbelievable. No, it's great. So if we get to 400, we're almost there. And a teaser to get us there, to convince anyone who hasn't to subscribe, is that we have another deal to announce, Craig, between us, me and you. Straight cash deal. That's all we can say at the moment.
Did you get them?
I haven't gotten them yet. Well, okay. we know who bought and who sold, but you don't know what was bought or sold. So easy. That's a teaser. That's a teaser coming soon.
Good. I'm glad that one worked out. We'll talk about it next one.
Yeah. All right, bro. Talk to you soon.
Peace.